Hello. How does this sound? Let me know in the chat. Does this sound beautiful? It sounds good in my headphones, but my headphones aren't necessarily the chat. Thank you all for joining me. As per usual, I'm going to start these streams with a song that, if you join the Patreon, is it too much echo? I can turn down the echo. Let me go to, what is this on? Filters? Okay. And then open plugin interface. It's too echoey. It's too gosh darn echoey. Let me turn it down. Warp. Yeah, the echo is on purpose. Feedback. Let me turn this down. Let me turn down the density here. I'm using, if anyone curious, Valhalla Supermassive plugin, which, and this is important to note, is completely unnecessary to be putting any sort of stupid effects on this. Literally, who gives a shit? So as I was saying, that's called reverb. It's an industry term. You're right, Dougie Jones. Like, fucking act like you've been here before, Lamp. Come on. Does that sound good? Sounds beautiful to me. As usual, I like to start these things with a song as people kind of filter on in. So if you join the Patreon, patreon.com/YosarianAndrews, you can in fact vote on what song I open up each live stream with. So the people voted, and this is a little song called Tom Hanks Got the HIV from the film Philadelphia. They got steak sandwiches. Oh my God, fuck you, Long Island. I was bruised and battered, I couldn't tell what I felt. I was unrecognizable to myself. I saw my reflection, didn't know my own face. So you're gonna leave me wasting away on the streets of Philadelphia. That's the chord. The streets of Philadelphia. The avenue till my legs felt like stone. I heard voices of friends vanished and gone. At night I hear the blood in my veins, just as black and whispery as the rain on the streets of Philadelphia. Streets of Philadelphia. Ain't no angel gonna greet me. It's just you and I, my friend. What's the next part? Oh yeah. And my clothes don't fit me no more. I walked 1,000 miles just to slip this skin. Night is falling and I'm lying awake. Oh, I can hear myself fading away. So receive me, brother, with your faithless kiss, or will we leave each other alone like this on the streets of Philadelphia? Streets of Philadelphia. Thank you all so very much. Oh my God, we're having so much fun here, ladies and gentlemen. Now we should stop hearing the echo. Thank you all so much for coming out. I agree. Woohoo! There's a little teaser of Back in Black by AC/DC. Do you think at some point in 2020, some social media intern was like, do we put Back in Black Lives Matter? Like on Twitter? Do we say that? Like, is that something we can coast on? Is that something we can... Is there a way we can monetize this? Perchance. Possibly. Watch out, Father John Misty. Yeah, you're darn right. When I'm done, you're going to be Mother John Misty, because I'm turning you into a girl. Should I wear sunglasses? I should wear sunglasses. I got a stupid light shining in my face. I got my sunglasses on here. What's up, guys? Oh, holy fucking shit, dude. I'd imagine most of you people watching this have literally never seen a cool guy before. This is your first introduction to the concept of being cool as hell, okay? I'm not going to show you the rest of this tattoo, which is on the other side of me. What do I have? Okay, let me start this stream off by telling the story of this tattoo that I've got right here, which is, of course, a dinosaur wearing a sombrero. So, to tell the story of this tattoo, I have to tell the story of another tattoo. So, many years ago, I was on tour with the band. Don't worry about it, okay? Was it Aerosmith? For a while, was I officially Steven Tyler's bandana wrangler? Don't even worry about it. I was on tour with a band. We were playing in Memphis at the High Tone, okay? You should be worried. So anyway, so the story, just flash forward to the end. I had to cover up the swastika, and so I decided the ultimate sign of racial power, a dinosaur wearing a sombrero. That would be very, very confusing. One time I did get a tattoo, and a lady said that, the lady tattooing me said that she once tattooed a guy who walked in and said he wanted white power in Japanese hiragana. And at the time, I was like, that's insane. And now I'm like, oh, that guy's just the base of the Republican Party. That guy's just the median Republican voter, where he's like, I will vote for whichever party gives me an anime character to have sex with. I need to do it. It does make sense, actually. There is truly the most... God, I'm getting so distracted here. I'll tell the story of the tattoo, I promise. But I've long said, and this is a political show where we talk about politics, and here's what you need to know. The most racist people on earth are the English. And I'll say it. I'm English, ethnically, whatever you want to say. I'm, half of my family is from England and the other half has been here since like the 1600s. I have Mein Kampf written in Sanskrit on my back. That makes perfect sense. Not by the way, just the title, the entire book in really tiny print. What was I saying? Yes, the most racist people on earth are the English, and I'm willing to say that. In terms of, one-on-one interpersonal racism, which kind of doesn't really, who gives a shit? That's my first political message on this program. You just get someone standing on the street corner screaming the N-word. Calm down. It's not a big deal, okay? No. Interpersonal racism is bad, all right? I'm not doing ironic racism jokes. It's bad to be racist to people. You shouldn't do that. That's not a nice thing to do. But that's not really the problem. The issue is when you invade countries and murder everyone in them, all right? And the English did more of that than anybody. But also interpersonally, they're the most in the same kind of way that, you want to hear the best cursing of your life, you go to a soccer match, okay? You fucking Man United versus fucking Arsenal over here. I'm just saying, in the fucking, it's the but everything they've said sounds like pudding flavors of some nature. You just don't understand their culture. That's true. That's true. I don't understand the English culture. I should understand it more. Their culture is somehow being allergic to the sun and yet still conquering half of the world. I don't know how the hell we pulled that off, but we shouldn't have. It was bad. I'm willing to take a stand. Imperialism bad. But I think the second most racist people in the world are the Japanese. And the fun thing about the English and the Japanese is both of them is pretty much location. I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now. But the point is, both of them, the English and the Japanese, are like island people You know, they're both on a small island. They have their own weird, super polite customs, and they will kill you at the drop of a dime. They're very similar cultures in a lot of ways. Why the English won out. Yeah, I've heard that, because that's the thing, right? Well, the Guns, Germ, and Steel kind of thing, which is one of the many, many great books I've never read. But Guns, Germs, and Steel basically posited that, like, being in the right location, having access to the right resources, even more so than necessarily the location itself, I guess location, our resources, whatever, help them out. By the same token, like, they didn't have weather. The English only got weather, like, a couple months ago. Maybe, like, around, like, 2022 is when they first had weather. Prior to that, everything was just cold and damp, and then slightly more cold and damp, where it was fine. You just had, like, you know, a stove and you could warm everything. You did not need air conditioning. But the temperature hit, like, you know, 75 or whatever that is in Celsius. I think minus quadrillion $. I don't know. They are real huge dickheads. And that's my point. The actual racism, and it's similar between the British and the Japanese, where, like, they both were living on this tiny little island, you know, separate islands, but they both grew an insane, very polite, but incredibly violent imperialist culture. And then we're like, well, we have to go fuck up the people next door, right? Like, we can't, what am I going to do? That's how racist the English were. They enslaved other white people, okay? And I can say all this. I did, and I'm going to throw this out on Front Street because this is true. A couple years back, I did one of those DNA test things, those 23andMe's, where you determine, you know, what your DNA was, who your ancestors were, how many of your grandparents were in fact cousins, and how that was fine back in the day. Your aunt would be like, who else you going to come in? Come on. Go fuck Deborah. But I discovered that my family tree doesn't fork. No, what I discovered is that, of course, my ancestors owned some slaves. It's not great. I'm not super proud of that. I'm not saying that's a positive thing. But I would highly recommend that if you are, in fact, a white person, you should not do one of those 23andMe DNA tests. You will either find out that, in fact, your ancestors owned slaves, or, alternatively, were too poor to own slaves. I don't know which is more shameful. You tell me. If my ancestors owned slaves, then why am I poor? That's a great question. And here's the thing. The people who, like, owned slaves back in the day weren't like the rich. The rich, you know, owned the big factories where they made, I don't know, creepy dolls. I don't know what the big economy was at the time. Probably just materials, and much like today, it was, of course, apps that steal your data. We found out my great-grandpa wasn't my great-grandpa. It turns out that he was an okay grandpa. That was a pretty good joke. That wasn't bad. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. But also that. Oh my God, I will vote. Trump. Listen, enough of this bullshit. Let me finish my thought about the slave owners. So, the people who owned slaves were like the petty wealthy that we kind of have, you know, here now. It's the same kind of idea where, like, you know, the kind of guy who owns a boat dealership, you know, where he's like pretty wealthy. He's doing fine. He's making more money than any of us will ever see in our lifetime. But actual wealthy people would look down on him as being like, you piece of human shit. And those were my ancestors. Okay. So I'm going to say that. Lamp has a Japanese family. That fucking rocks, dude. You need to go say hi to them. I have an aunt who lives in London, and I go stay with her ass. I just show up, and I'm like, I love you. And I tell you what I don't love, the cost of the fucking Paddington Hilton. I'll tell you that much, sister. Oh, my God. Guys, today's a rough day for me. I have to do a live stream. I woke up this morning, and my ankle kind of hurt a little bit. Okay? I'm getting old, guys. Don't do it. Do not get old. Now, I am not recommending you unalive yourself in heckin' Roblox or Reno or what. I'm not saying that. You're depressed, maybe, you know, sign up for the IDF and die for glorious Israel. Maybe you should. I'm not saying that. You tell me. I need to get some hot Israel takes to make this, like, pop off. That's what get people talking. I'm doing a ContraPoints thing, okay? Where I'm doing a ContraPoints thing. Okay, here's the ultimate centrist opinion that I'm going to have right here. I think there is a genocide happening in Gaza, and it's good. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't believe any of that. I don't believe any of that. My ankle kind of hurt this morning. And you get old. You just wake up and various parts of your body weirdly hurt. You don't know why. I didn't do anything terribly interesting yesterday. Unless going to a brewery and then getting high, ordering Chinese food and watching Happy Gilmore 2. Here's my review, unless that's interesting. Here's my review of Happy Gilmore 2, by the way. Let me sound it off right here. 2 hours, no thank you. That should be sub 90 minutes. It is the most pandering member berries ass shit I've ever seen. To the point where literally before every moment of the movie, where it's like a reference to the previous movie, before every one of those, they just cut to the clip from the previous movie. It's like an hour, 57 minutes, and I swear 20 minutes are clips from the original Happy Gilmore, which is also on Netflix. Just watch that, okay? You'll have just as much fun and waste far less time. Well, listen, even though my ankle slightly hurts, presumably due to rolling in the aisles, but did you watch Catch-22? No, I've never watched Catch-22, nor have I ever read Catch-22. But, because Yossarian Andrews, just to throw it out there, might be a stage name. Might not be the real friggin' name right here, okay? But when I was a kid, my dad wanted to name me Yossarian, and my mom said no, because it, quote, sounded too ethnic, which I thought was pretty funny. But he would just call me Yossarian as this, passive-aggressive thing throughout my life. So I think I was, 10, and I was like, don't call me that anymore. I'm 10. Please, Daddy, don't call me that anymore. I don't want to be called that, Daddy. But he'd call me Yossarian. Come here, Yossarian. Whatever the fuck. And so, I've just taken it as a name. And it's mine. I'm taking it. You are just a little Harry Potter. Sort of. I'm a giant Harry Potter. I went the opposite way. I don't know how tall Daniel Radcliffe is now, but, here's the thing, right? I'm shooting out political takes, and I'll say this one right here, okay? J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. I don't agree with J.K. Rowling on all this Twitter stuff, okay? On all this going on Twitter and being like, I think trans people are just trying to go in the locker room to jack off or whatever the fuck she's saying. And I was like, listen, if a dude wanted to just break into a locker room to jack off, you know what he'd do? He'd break into a locker room to jack off. You know how hard it is to even do the bare minimum of being trans? Honestly, you have to get a wig. You have to do all this shit. Why'd you do that? If your main goal is just to be a disgusting pervert, men don't have a problem with that. We do that constantly. It's fine. Okay? So I don't agree with J.K. Rowling. I don't think it's nice what she's saying. I think it's raising up. They are expensive as fuck. You have to put on a little bit of makeup, even just doing a voice. It's any amount of work you have to do is too much work. Okay? If your goal is because this is basically what J.K. Rowling believes is men are just walking around going you know what would be great? If I were to violate a woman's private space. That would be a cool thing to do. But first I have to wear a costume. How do I? You just do it. You don't need to do all. No one's fucking listen, no one's being trans to fuck with you. All right? And if they are, hilarious bit. Great bit. I firmly support it. No. People are trans in the world. Or they're not. I don't know. It's like the argument people would have back in the day about gay people where they'd be like, oh, it's just a social contagion. They're just pretending to be gay, I guess, which also was revealing a lot about the people saying it, just being like, listen, we all think about sucking dick 24 hours a day. We never, ever stop, okay? We love it. You don't give into it. No, they're just claiming that, and people will be like, no, being gay is not a choice. It's hereditary. And I'm like, you're probably right. That seems more likely to me. But also, it's a stupid argument. Who gives a shit if it's a choice? If your choice is to go suck a man's dick, and a man chooses to let you suck his dick, and also lesbians don't exist. Lesbians are only for my pornographic fantasies. They're not humans with feelings. Just kidding. But the point is, this whole notion of oh, are you gay by choice? Or is it, who gives a shit? Who fucking gives a shit? If your choice is to go be gay, and other people want to be gay with you, you made a great choice. You made an awesome fucking choice. And I realized I never finished the story of the tattoo. This is the first one, and it's going swimmingly. All right? What's up, Comrade Fuzz? Welcome. No, I don't sound anything like, I'm presuming you're referring to the popular, in quotation marks, online character Steve Vongino. He talked way different. He would go, hey guys, what's up? It's a Vongino predicament. And then he would abandon the voice 10 minutes in. Anyway, I was telling the story of my tattoo. And I got distracted by letting everybody know the right political opinions, okay? Here's a story of my tattoo, okay? So it's the story of this tattoo right here. So I'm on tour with a band. We're in Memphis. We're playing at the High Tone. Across the street from the High Tone is a tattoo parlor. And the singer of the band taps me on the shoulder. Or maybe even the elbow. Who knows? Tap me somewhere. The lead singer, that's true. Sorry to hear that, Comrade Fuzz. Anyway, so the High Tone had a tattoo parlor across the street from it. And the lead singer goes, all right, let's go. We're all going to get tattoos of spaghetti on us. And of us, me, her, and the bass player agreed. The drummer and the other guitar player said, no, thank you. We don't have any tattoos. We don't want any tattoos. We're quite frankly cowards. So the best tattoos are truly meaningless. And this is meaningless. And I never got a good answer as to why she wanted spaghetti. Oh, it's hard to figure out with it's like looking into a mirror. Everything's reversed. Anyway, I don't know why she wanted a spaghetti tattoo. I could not tell you. Later, she told me she was on a vacation in Costa Rica, and this Costa Rican guy came up to her and said, why spaghetti tattoo? And she goes, oh, it's for my band. And he goes, what do you guys call it? The Spaghetts? Which I thought was very funny. And I wanted to make an album called The Spaghetts, but we never did it. And she's a nurse now. But anyway, so I got this tattoo. I take a picture of it. I send it to my girlfriend. She gets pissed because a month or two prior to that, we had been out to dinner, and I've been like, I want to get another tattoo. What should my next tattoo be? And she drew a picture of a dinosaur wearing a sombrero. I think in her picture it was a stegosaurus. I might have that wrong. But she said I should get that tattoo. So when I showed her I got this, new tattoo, she was like really mad, like didn't talk to me for like a couple days. So I thought, and it is stupid, and it's very stupid. So I thought it would be a funny bit to get the dinosaur wearing a sombrero tattoo. And when I showed this to her, because I didn't tell her I was going to get it, it was a complete surprise. I showed it to her. I went to go get a tattoo on my arm of the tab to Seven Nation Army, which is this right here. Bum, 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 right there. And so she got mad. So when I decided to get this tattoo, I was like, let's just get a dinosaur wearing a sombrero. And she got mad because she's like, that's not the drawing I made. And I'm like, I don't have that fucking drawing. It's stupid and kind of racist. The spaghetti tattoo, you can't be racist against Italians. That's not the point. You're right, Dougie Jones. Otherwise, well, the point is I actually got it because I got a job following Jack White around, so he'd remember. He starts every set by going like, chunk, chunk, chunk. No, that's not it. Fuck, shit. No. You are right. Showing that tattoo means you definitely abandoned trying to hide your age. I'm old as shit. That is not, I cannot keep that going. I am old as absolute hell. I just wake up every morning. I've gotten to the age of the point where I'm like, I could just die. I don't want to die. I want to keep living. Life is beautiful. But I'm like, if I die tomorrow, it's not going to be that sad. No one would be like, God, he was so young. I just, if I die tomorrow, the world will keep churning along. I mean, I'm older than you, but I look younger. The thing about me is that I didn't look old up until my hair started all going gray. My stupid, beard and all that stuff. It all started going gray, and I've got, gray hair and stuff like that. And I don't really care, because here's the thing. Way better to go gray than bald. Oh, 100,000,000%. Give me a full, white-ass Steve Martin head of hair before I go bald. The moment I go bald, the moment I go even a little bald, the moment any hair falls out of here, shaving the entire thing. Just keeping a goatee. Getting a Harley Davidson motorcycle. Paying Ukrainian refugees to pretend to be my girlfriend for dinner at Toby Keith's I Heart This Bar and Grill. All right? That's what we're doing. Not expecting these luscious. I got nice hair, dude. I've got a Tulsi streak going in. The great thing is that, the thing about the going gray is you can like, it's the same thing with going bald. You can rock it and you can pull it off. All right. And if I wanted to like dye my hair, I'd have to dye my beard and everything. It'd be a whole thing. Because if I just have like jet black hair and a gray beard, everyone would just be like, okay, buddy, come on. What was your first concert? Dashboard Confessional? Shut up. My first concert, Rob Thomas, Matchbox 20. Well, it was whole Matchbox 20. It wasn't just Rob Thomas. Somewhere the bass player from Matchbox 20 is mad that I just said it was a Rob Thomas concert. It's like, shut up. Creed? I had tickets to go see Creed in like 2001, 2002, something. I was in high school. And they got in a car accident, is how I remember it being told to me. Green Day, that was your first concert. Was Green Day my most recent concert? I saw Green Day last summer with the Smashing Pumpkins, and Green Day closed it out, and they did Dookie in full and then American Idiot in full, and it rocked. I was like, holy shit, I am 13 again. And all my pubes fell out. And I said, thank God. Those are being annoying anyway. Did they play smooth? No. When I saw Matchbox 20, maybe I have the timing wrong. I think it was pre-smooth. As I understand it, Rob Thomas plays smooth, but even more so, Carlos Santana will play smooth when he goes out and does his shows. Because he doesn't sing at all. He just does his stupid, like, you know, he only has one guitar solo. He doesn't know what song is being played at any moment. He's just wandered onto the other stage, and now he's at a Billy Joel concert. Uptown Girl. Listen, Carlos Santana, talented musician. We can all agree on that. He has got one move, and it's the that's all he does. All right? Everyone loves BJ. Everyone does love Billy Joel. Remember in the 90s when for a while his big thing was getting drunk and crashing his car? And he was the car crashing guy. And it kind of reminds me of like at one point when I think it might be completely apocryphal, but a story about like Michael Jordan was gambling and someone's like, I think you have a gambling problem. And he goes, no, I have enough money. It's fine. Okay. And it's sort of similar to Billy Joel where he kept crashing cars and he's like, guess what, motherfucker? I wrote Piano Man. I'll crash as many cars as I want. Crash my car in my sleep. That's an issue. That's a fear I have a lot while driving. I'm not, listen, and this is going to get to some race science, so buckle in. In many ways, I am quite Jewish. I'm not, none of those ways, in fact, are ethnically. I am 0% Jewish. As I said, completely white. Just the whitest you can possibly be. White nationalists, they're the one, they think I'm the superior being, okay? Just complete European stock. So I don't have that ethnic, but I am neurotic about a lot of things. And so I kind of relate to the Jewish people in that way. I like halal guys, so that's a little opposite of that. But a big way in which I am incredibly goyim is I don't worry. I have the opposite of hypochondria. Okay. I should be more worried about my health. I could wake up just bleeding out of every orifice in my body and I'd be like, I'll take some ibuprofen. I'll be fine. I don't care about anything. COVID was horrible for guys like me. It was great for all you scared motherfuckers who were just like, wearing like a little mask over your face all the time and just being like, I'm so scared of everything. Motherfucker. Shouldn't say this out loud, but it's just true. It's just true that the summer of COVID, like 2020, I was just going to the gym. As long as they were open, I just hopped right on in to the gym. No mask on, fully mouth kissing anyone who could bench more than me. I just went to the movies, took my mask off. I truly didn't give a shit. Because I was like, listen, I'm not going to interact with old people, I'll be fine. This has been going on for like 29 minutes. I've just been riffing. This is the reason I had to start streaming just as myself, and I should stream every day. I don't have a lot of skills. Maybe my only true life skills is to just never shut the hell up. I should say bad words less on the stream. That does not help with reach when I say, I'm looking to see how many viewers we have. With my stupid sunglasses, I can't see much. But you can kind of see reflections in it. We got people watching. We have fun. I just don't talk to people closer than 6 feet for 26 minutes or more. I don't talk to anybody. I only talk to you people through the screen. Listen, this is the inaugural stream of this channel. There's the Yossarian Andrews channel. I'm out here. We're talking. We're chatting it up. What do I put a tag on Twitch? Okay, what does it mean to put a tag on Twitch? I'm at Twitch right now. Can't see much. I can't really see the screen with these stupid sunglasses. I'll put my regular glasses on. I also, in addition to my ankle kind of hurting, I had a zit on my lip that I popped, and you can kind of see like. Like a zit right there that popped. That's true. I am a good singer and I'm great at cooking. Totally. If you want ramen noodles made, you're going to make it. I'll make some great ones for you. Oh, do you like spice them up? Do you like it? Nope. Absolutely not. I did not put an egg. I don't put anything else. What you do to make the best possible ramen noodles, actually, because I'm messing with you. You do got to put other stuff in there. But what I like to do, okay, hear me out on this one. You cook them, all right? Then at the very end, as it's boiling, you drain out almost all the water, as little water as can be left. Then you get it hot again, and it's almost going to burn. You got to do this in like 5 seconds. Then you take eggs, you roll the eggs in there, okay? You get it from like one of those, pour like this, and then you're like rolling this around, and it's almost like an egg drop soup. And then at the end of it, you put the seasoning in there. Then after that, you put a gun in your mouth, and you press the trigger because you're eating ramen noodles. That's the trick. All right, I'm on Twitch. What show I do a tag on Twitch? I'm going to do a tag like hashtag content or hashtag comedy or hashtag very funny or hashtag correct opinions. Is this how you do a tag on Twitch? I don't know how any of this works, dude. Hashtag correct opinions. I can't stop. No, how do I do a tag? I don't know what I'm doing. How to do tags on. All right, let's Google it. Listen, we'll pop on over. I'm gonna go to the browser right here. Last thing I was searching for is how to make someone a mod on Twitch, which I did. How to make a tag on twitch.com. A great website. I love. It has never hurt anyone. Israel has the right to defend itself. Accurate. Adding tag. Okay, tags set the concept of the stream. All right, this is good. It's important to know. Like a stream title, tags contain each time a streamer go live. Tag the content of your stream and let others discover you more easily. Okay? So usually, I don't like ChatGPT. I'm so fucking old about this shit, and I do use ChatGPT sometimes. I'm not saying I don't use it, but I've just accepted that I'm an old man about it. And the same way that, you know, I'm sure when we first invented the car, people were like, the horseless buggy is the right thing to do, and this car is an abomination to God. And those people were right. Okay? Go to your stream. Okay, now you don't need to copy and paste the whole fucking paragraph there, lamp boobs. I already Googled it. Okay? I already fucking Googled it. But ChatGPT I regard as the devil. It's not natural. It's not right. And I will destroy it from the inside out, except for whenever I need it, in which case I always use it. Adding tags in Stream Manager. Okay. Navigate to your creator dashboard, Stream Manager, edit stream info. All right. Creator dashboard. No, let's restream. Here we go. Where the heck is it? Here's my Twitch. All right. What are we doing here? Creator dashboard. Creator dashboard right there. Oh, we're getting a little Yoception right there. ChatGPT is your only friend. Well, I'm sure you'll get to fuck it someday. That's how that works. There are people now who are like, this is a problem. Okay, there are people now who are like, oh, I'm in love with my ChatGPT. I'm sending it messages. We're dating. And a big problem that I think a lot of people tackle in the day-to-day world, and this is very political in a lot of ways, people are very worried about how the future will look at them in this moment, you know? People are like, I have to have the right opinion because someday someone will call me a Nazi if I don't know, protest Starbucks every day or something like that. And it's like, you don't know how the future will look at you. It's going to look at you poorly. Abandon that. You're not living in this moment. And my point here is that someday, the notion of me sitting here going like, Oh man, it's so stupid to be on ChatGPT. What a sad life. Because someday it could literally be like someone being opposed to interracial dating. Okay? But it's like, that's how I feel at the moment. I'm going to be honest about how I feel. I think it's sad and pathetic. I don't like it. I'm not stopping you from doing it. You can do whatever the hell you want. All right, path to affiliate. I have done none of these. Stream 4 days in a month, stream 4 hours in a month, minimum of 3 different viewers on 4 average days. I mean, that's not that much. I could maybe get that someday. Anyway, adding tags to the stream. Navigate to creator dashboard, stream manager, edit stream info. Okay, stream manager. Got it. Okay, so here we are. Where's stream preview? I don't see stream info. This is annoying. That's a good point there. Lines of code can't suffer. Has anyone been friend zoned? Yeah. What if you go to ChatGPT and you're like, ChatGPT, pretend you love me. And it's just like, I'm sorry. I always thought we were more like friends. All right. So I'm not seeing, edit stream info. Okay. Edit stream. Oh, okay. So wait, so I can do a category here. We got all this tags here. Category. What are we going to call this? We're going to call this politics. Because I'm told that's politics and war. These are like other channels, right? Okay, there we go. That's politics. So tags. All right, what should I put? It is in English. That's correct. What else can I put? You've received 100 messages already. Recently, Hunter Biden. Oh, we're gonna watch that Hunter Biden thing. That was here's how wild the Hunter Biden interview was. It was with Andrew Callahan, who got Me Too'd. No one mentioned the Me Too. This is the only time, I think, in history that someone who has been Me Too'd has produced content and no one mentions that they were Me Too'd. Okay? Not even for a second, because Hunter Biden is just fucking going off. He is having thoughts. Epstein Files, Hunter Biden, Obamagate. Okay, we'll do that. Epstein Files. There we go. Obamagate. I'm sorry that Obama Gaming, Obamacare. I'll put that one in there. Hunter Biden. I'm going to talk about Medhi Hasan. We're going to watch that. Hunter of Biden's dong. Definitely into that. So we've got 3 at this point. I got to put 10 Hunter for president, 100. Unironically, this is my political message here, okay? Unironically, the attitude Hunter Biden displayed in that conversation is the attitude the Democratic Party needs to bring to the table, okay? I'm not saying I agree with everything he said. He loves his father more than I do, and I love his father. Joe Biden is a cute old man who doesn't know what room he's in right now, but knows that no matter how much money we're sending to Israel, God knows we need to send more of it. That'll be the last thing Joe Biden says on his deathbed. He's like, I'm about to die, Jack, no malarkey, but can we Venmo Netanyahu, please? Biden versus AOC dim ticket for 2028. There is a 0% chance they haven't fucked yet. 0% chance. Isn't everyone mad at AOC right now? Because she voted. This is a politics show where I know everything. I'm vaguely aware of the fact that AOC voted yes or voted against an amendment by Marjorie Taylor Greene to continue to stop funding. Okay, there's so many double negatives in this. It's confusing. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to have a stop funding the Iron Dome in Israel, which, and I'm not, having an opinion on this. I'm being a moderate centrist still. The one thing right here, of course, is that Marjorie Taylor Greene does it because she wants to do the Holocaust again. She sort of is at an interesting point where she's like, I both think the Holocaust didn't happen, but if you give me a chance, I have got some amazing ideas on improvements, okay? We're going to make a sequel to something they never had an original for, and the sequel's going to be better, all right? It's going to be, I believe she was quoted as saying, this will be the Godfather 2 of ethnic cleansings, if you let me get in there. You do need to like and subscribe. So yeah, she said she didn't want to vote for stopping the funding to the Iron Dome. She wanted to keep the Iron Dome up. And a couple things, okay, about all this, all right? Because I'm truly, everyone, you got to have an opinion on Israel. It's a thing that drives everyone crazy now. Also, Hunter for president, we're doing that one. And we're also going to do Israel because people are very obsessed with that. The honest thing about the whole Israel-Palestine thing, I'm going to solve it. The internet is full of people with a fucking 7th grade education for all intents and purposes being like, I'm going to solve this. And I honestly legitimately think a lot of people on like the quote unquote online left legitimately think this conflict started on October 7th of whatever it was, 2023. Okay? This is millennial. I'm not saying it's good what Israel's doing. I'm by no means approving of it. Is it a genocide, quote unquote? I don't know exactly how we define this term, to be entirely honest with you. But it's obviously a horrible thing that we are doing and we're continuing to do and fund. And listen, I don't agree with the people who were like, I'm not going to vote for Kamala. I have to send this one out. I don't agree with them for a number of reasons. That is true. The real conflict started in the last episode of Leftovers. You're right about that. That's the real Israel-Palestine. Can I be honest about this? Everyone loses their mind over Ethan Klein, okay? Everyone's just like, how dare he? We hate Ethan Klein, et cetera, et cetera. And by the way, I'm going to put that on here. Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker. All right, how many? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think people were mean to him. The problem is that you can make two arguments about this whole thing, because I didn't really follow it too much. But as I understand it, Ethan Klein, who of course has a wife who is Israeli, has 2 children who are half Israeli, I'm not expecting this guy to come to the table with an incredibly logical point of view in this whole thing. But as far as I know, and feel free to sound off, starting controversy will get me viewers. As far as I know, he's always been very, very clear that he opposes Netanyahu. He opposes the actions of them. I think he's even agreed to call it a genocide. But people get mad because I'm not sure why exactly. The big thing I'll say is like, and I'm definitely adding another Hassan Abi. There we go. That'll give me some more viewers. Epstein 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got to add 2 more. Let me see, Medhi Hasan. Did I? No, I think I already did Medhi Hasan. I'm going to put in Pussy. Can I put that in? Pussy Gamer. Pussy Gaming. All right. This tag may conflict with Twitch's moderation policy. I'll get back to it. The point is, so he's a literal Zionist. Okay, so what does that mean to be a literal Zionist? Does that simply mean that you want Israel to have an ethno-state? Okay? The notion of people, especially Jewish people, who would say, like, I want Israel to have a state for itself that no one else can live in, I don't agree with that. I get where they're coming from, the way Jews have been treated throughout the world. I get that fear that's going to be inside you. I get that 100%. I don't agree you should be allowed to treat other people as second-class citizens, okay? I don't like that one bit. And I think that's what they're doing. That's the least of what the fuck they're doing to the Palestinian people. That's what they're doing before October 7th, before they just decided to fucking bomb and kill people. So the whole thing here, right, is that I don't approve of what Israel does, but I think people were too mean to Ethan Klein and ContraPoints. Can I just say that, okay? You can disagree with them. And I don't know... That's true. They've been doing so much bombing and killing. It's terrible what Israel does. But that's what ContraPoints and Ethan Klein both said that. I don't follow it all. What did Ethan Klein say? Sound off in the chats, because I don't want to defend him because I don't really follow it. You're absolutely correct. The violence from Israel against Palestine did not start on October 7th. It has been happening for a long time, and it's terrible. Okay? So the illegally settling thing, yeah, I don't know the full story of all that, but it was literally like they were paying, or American tax dollars or something were paying for like American Jews to come in and set up a house there. So he said, yeah, this is terrible, but let me justify it for a while if I may. So that's the important distinction, okay? Because I have not heard Ethan Klein justify it. If other people, like, I don't watch a lot of these streamers, but like, I've watched Destiny, and I think Destiny's a smart guy. Not to even go into like, his crazy personal life, which obviously is a whole nother fucking ball of wax I'm not even gonna get into. But I've heard him do justification. Okay. Well, you shouldn't bully him online. We should definitely stop giving Israel money. I agree with that 100%. Okay. And I think I've heard Ethan Klein say that too. So you have 2 separate things right here. Let's talk more about ContraPoints, because that I think is kind of more, and also I'm going to put her in here. That's another one that I've seen even more people scream about, where it's like, the one thing I've heard people say, because ContraPoints, if you don't know, is a streamer, and she came out with a statement where she said, And I'm kind of summing this up here. You tell me if you think I'm doing an unfair job summing this up. What she basically said was, hey, I don't like what Israel's doing. I think it's terrible what Israel's doing. The online left in America is doing nothing to stop it. And in fact, by helping get Donald Trump elected, they very well have made it worse. Okay. And I don't like that. And as a trans person, I'm kind of mad at them for helping get Donald Trump elected. Now, a couple things here that I foundationally disagree with her on. I do not think the online left is what got Donald Trump elected. I don't. If you look at any actual data, God forbid, and everyone just goes off fucking vibes. So if you actually bring up data, people are like, why are you basing your information off whatever people said? She can't actually play piano or do makeup. I'll teach her to play piano. I got a piano right back there. I'm not very good at it. So, it's a bit of a blind leading the blind thing. But I disagree with her that the quote unquote online left got Trump elected. If you actually look at any data, exit polling, all that stuff. And this is what you say here. I am just too hard gone, but I honestly don't think electing Kamala would have done anything to stop fascism. I'll tell you what I actually think. So first off, just to conclude that one thought, okay, I think that by all actual accounts, and first off, and we're ignoring the fact that we quote unquote election fraud. Was there election fraud? Of course there was. No, I'm not necessarily saying, whatever, Elon Musk used Starlink to hack voting machines. That seems incredibly hard to do because most of it's done at the state level. Not saying it's impossible. Not saying it definitely didn't happen. He very well might have. I wouldn't be that shocked to see it. But I think the bigger voter fraud that we need to actually look at is disenfranchisement, okay? Especially in black and brown communities in the South and other parts of America. You make it so it's 30, 45 minutes to wait in line. It's hot as shit outside. Maybe people want to vote. Maybe they want to go work an extra shift, make enough money to pay for something. It's tough, right? So I think the issue that destroyed the Democrats ultimately was the economy. People are very, very stupid. And they saw prices going up. They blamed it all on Biden for nothing. So, so as Lamboob says, they might have. If there's any evidence of it, I certainly wouldn't be terribly surprised, but I haven't seen it, so who the hell knows? But again, through voter suppression, which they've just admitted to, that turned down the vote a lot. And I think Trump didn't win by that much. He won by less, raw votes in the popular vote than Joe Biden did when he got the most votes of anyone in history, as Hunter Biden pointed out correctly in that interview with Andrew Callahan. So I think the bigger thing is simply the economy. That bothered people, and a very effective last-minute media push to make Donald Trump look kind of cute. It's the kind of thing where he's working at a McDonald's, and it's the Twitter meme of this shit must slap so hard if you're fucking stupid. Do you know how stupid fucking Americans are? God damn, dude. They're so dumb. This is a good point. Do you think Kamala would have done anything about the neoliberalism that is making people poor and other people richer? Because I really don't think so. I really don't think she would have done anything to stop the root of the problem. I concur. And listen, you can go off on another rant about this because two things can be true at the same time. All right? And I'm willing to say two things can be true at the same time. First, wages have not increased along with inflation. So the buying power of your dollar, what actually matters, if I have $20 in my pocket right now, I cannot buy as much for it as I could with, or I could do more now, but the equivalent of it with inflation, I don't know, I'm not explaining the concept well. Basically, your money is worse now. That's just the fact of the matter, all right? People are getting paid less, et cetera, all right? With an erosion of unions, there's less worker protections than there were. There's less sufficient benefits for people. This, again, is all just looking at actual data, not just general vibes. Because vibes can be manipulated. You live in a little Twitter sphere, and let me just put vibes in here to tag that. Vibes. So, this is all pretty genuine. So, if you're curious, this is just me sharing my actual thoughts. Two different things to be true at once. A, wages have not increased with inflation. And at the same time, housing is now more expensive than it's ever been. Especially housing, especially in urban areas. And a lot of that has to do with YIMBY shit. And a lot of that shit is honestly not even right wing. It's sort of bipartisan, but making it hard to build new houses. That's why when everyone kind of lost their mind over this sort of abundance, neoliberalism kind of nonsense, I'd be like, these people, I think, are not meeting the moment, A. But the notion of, Ezra Klein comes out and says, I want to do less regulation on things. I'm like, well, Be more specific. What do you want to regulate? What do you not? Only an idiot, a child. I'm putting my sunglasses back on because I'm cool. Only a true idiot. And you know, and this is such a stupid right-wing Trump guy thing. Such a stupid right-wing like Trump guy, like, I'm getting taxed too much. My main problem is taxes. They also hate brown people, but that's not the motivating. I have less respect for the taxes people. But I forgot my point, where I was even going with this thing. It's not important. What was I saying? Yes. Okay. Focus. The number one, when people are just like, my problem is all the government regulation. Okay. Sure. I would be very open to have a good faith conversation. What government regulation do you think, and liberals are more, I'm not playing that stupid bullshit. We can talk about that hobo with a shotgun because, and I think this is the point Lamp Boobs made before. So let me just stick on this one point because it is important. Even if you want to say that I think the Democratic Party is somewhat underrated by the quote unquote online left, people who are just like radical communists, but they don't have great, opinions. In a lot of ways, it's similar to the whole, like, the guy who's like, we just need less regulation. Oh, cool. Someone is posting, Fletcher CC is posting the beginning of I have no mouth, but I must scream. Maybe this is the ending of it. I think it's the beginning of it. A great story. Check it out. Harlan Ellison, truly a nutbag of science fiction. But I got the reference and I appreciate it, Fletcher. Thanks for watching. Are the stream numbers up ever since I posted those tags that are helping people? They are. We've got more people in here. But what I'm saying here is that I think to some degree, and maybe it's just because I'm an old man and I'm not radical, it seems like all the young Gen Zers, if you're like under the age of 25, you are either like, you either think Mao didn't go far enough or you think Hitler didn't go far enough. Those are the only two opinions you can have if you're under the age of 25. I'm an idiot. When I was a kid, quote unquote, neoliberalism worked. I mean, it worked obviously for me. It didn't work for a lot of different people, okay? The whole notion of like, this is the other part of it too. A lot of people are ahistorical. And so they'll have this kind of belief of like, oh, the 1950s were better. Things were so great back then. Plenty of motherfuckers were poor back then, all right? You look at the actual numbers, again, not just vibes. People were plenty poor back in the day, all right? So that's why I'm saying two things can be true at once. One is the economy is set up foundationally, at the very foundation, to benefit an increasingly small elite few. That is absolutely true, okay? So when people complain about money problems or they're like, I don't have enough money to go around, there is plenty of sympathy to be had for that, okay? At the same time, some of y'all door dashing too much, all right? I'm willing to say it. And this obviously is not an institutional problem. People are free to do whatever they want. The notion of how you this isn't really politics. This is like, the same thing when people express a political opinion. They're like, my political opinion is if you work at McDonald's, that's not a career. A stupid guy was telling me that one time. Why he voted for Trump. And it was like, because if you work at McDonald's, that shouldn't be a career. What? It's such a bizarre thing. And I'm like, okay, well, listen, if you, a 30-year-old person is working at McDonald's, no shame to that. All right. You want to go to McDonald's and be served. Don't attack the people who work there. God forbid. But I'd imagine they would like to make more money too. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But the question is not what should that human being do? What's going to be better for society broadly? Okay. And this guy at McDonald's, when he makes money, he goes to the grocery store and he spends his money. Okay. He goes to a hardware store and he spends his money. He circulates the money around. That's the thing about the economy. It's a vibing organism. It's not just like, stupid libertarians think they live in their little bubble. Okay. And that's why COVID was such a potent metaphor for this whole thing for these people. But, you need to spend your money and spread it around. Okay. But at the same time, some of you spending too much. I'm just willing to say it. All right. There's plenty of foundational economic problems that we have. Do not get me wrong. I'm not denying that. I'm not a communist. I'm not an anythingist. My actual political opinion is I just vote for whoever Oprah tells me to. No, I don't know. I do think the Democratic Party doesn't get enough credit. Joe Biden didn't get enough credit because they're terrible at marketing. They're not good at what they're doing. And that's not to say there aren't, criticism. I can't afford DoorDash. Be like me. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. People do DoorDash too damn much. Learn to make some food. It's a fun activity. You don't need to be very good at it. Okay. just like, goddamn. We do live in a money cult, and I think that money is bad. So, I only buy used guitars. Well, I only sell my used guitars on Facebook Marketplace, and I make money on them. But, I mean, in terms of what's the institutional, at what point do politics actually come into people's money spending habits? I don't know. I mean, make better financial education. Sure. I think that's great. Because that's the other thing. Like, people talk about white privilege, and first off, how can there be white privilege when there's no white entertainment television? All right. I think I rest my case. No, the white privilege isn't just the money you get handed down from previous generations. That's nice. I'm not downplaying that. Okay. The real white privilege is being taught how to handle the money. Okay. Interesting. I think it should be easier for people who don't want to participate in convoluted and complicated markets and practices should have an option in society to do so and be productive in their own way. I mean, that's my honest thought politically is like, I would probably just something equivalent to like, a Norway sort of style socialism kind of thing, where it's like, many jobs are bullshit, to be entirely honest with you. And I'm someone who likes working. I like being productive and waking up and doing things. I think a more robust social safety net is what I would advocate for. I have two political positions. When I'm just sitting here being kind of a normal guy, just talking, I'm like, yeah, I think, we don't need to abolish capitalism if we just sort of had, Norwegian style, markets where we certainly do have competition through, innovation through competition. But at the same time, we have a robust social safety net to support the underserved. Okay. But after I talk to any Republican, I'm like, no, Chairman Mao didn't go far enough. We need a re-education camp individually for every fucking Republican. Dear God. That I would say is my actual most strongly held political position, is that I hate Republicans. I'm a pretty moderate guy. You want to know actual policy? I don't know. I don't give a shit. What's the policy? I don't know. I just find Tim Pool really fucking annoying. Speaking of arguing with Republicans, that was a pretty good transition. Let me put my glasses back on so I can. The problem is that I look so cool with my sunglasses on. I would say I am legitimately kind of a moderate centrist. But I mean, I think the problem we have here again is that, I'll tell you this. If I had to choose between communism and fascism, and sometimes it feels like I kind of do, I'd probably go with the communism. Although, I'm pretty sympathetic to notions that whatever Stalin's Russia was pretty goddamn fascist to begin with too. Is China fascist? I don't know. I don't like, people like, because I don't like right-wing media and it really kind of bothers me a lot. And when I did a show making fun of right-wing media, people would ask me sometimes like, what about, extreme left media? And I'm like, well, what's like the furthest left, like Hasan Piker or something like, or maybe like the Deprogram podcast. Those are like, I think the workers owning the means of production is not a big deal and kind of cool. But the whole thing about this, I don't even disagree that workers owning the means of production, or at least there being a more democratic way to kind of spread money around. I don't disagree with that at all. But like, what are you going to do tomorrow? You're going to wake up and do to get us closer to that or get us further away from that, I know I'm very different than that. But that's what I'm saying. Someone like, Hasan Piker who'll be like, well, I won't advocate for voting for Kamala because, whatever, XYZ. And if people don't want to vote, they don't want to vote. I'm not going to vote shame people. If people are saying they don't want to vote for Kamala Harris because of, let's say, the genocide in Israel, that she did nothing to differentiate herself from Joe Biden on, at least not enough, I'm not confused as to why that would be off-putting to you. But I just fundamentally disagree on the concept of voting. But what I would always say to people, if someone's really like, I am making a principled stand and I am not voting for the lesser of two evils. And I would go, well, I always think of it as less a moral reflection upon yourself and more sort of a utilitarian decision as to what will make people's lives better or worse. What will bring us further or closer away to more of an equality and equity in society. Okay? I think ranked choice voting is great. We should do that. We won't, but we should. But the point is, what would get you closer or further away from that? But if you're truly like, I can't do this, I'm just removing myself from the situation, I disagree with you, but that's your right to do so. And I'm not going to harangue you. But my question then to people is simply to say, what else did you do? Does your activism end at complaining about Democrats on Twitter? If so, fuck off. Fuck off. If your primary political position is that Democrats suck, I just don't think you got your eye on the ball, man. And not to say that I like the Democratic Party. They're completely ineffective. They can't get anything done. I'm not a particularly big fan. Someone like AOC who wants to work within them to bring change doesn't seem to be working terribly well for her at all. But good luck, man. Would be cool if you could. Okay? But again, if someone's main political action is attacking the Democratic Party, you don't got your eye on the goddamn ball. Okay? Oh my God. What's this fucking paragraph Lamp wrote? All right. I literally don't know how to read. Well, I think one problem is, that is a problem, is looking completely unreasonable in society in the face, calling it out as unreasonable. And then everyone was saying like, well, what are you going to do? You might as well drop it. And it goes from, you might as well drop it to, you better drop it. You're worthless and lazy and you're not doing anything. It's like, no, let the people keep saying this shit's fucked up. That's valid. I mean, but again, I think that, there's a big difference, okay, between pointing out the very real flaws in the Democratic Party and the way in which they're not that much different than Republicans, because the both sides shit is stupid in a lot of ways. It's also true in a lot of ways. Okay. And to answer the kind of earlier question, like, would she have stopped fascism? Probably not. If we live in a world where Kamala Harris had gotten elected in 2024, then, she would have probably done an okay job at running the bureaucracy of neoliberal capitalism. She would have probably done okay, done better than anyone than fucking Hassan Piker ever gave her credit for. But you know what? She wouldn't stop the fundamental problems. All right? The wealth inequality. She wouldn't boost the social safety net. And ultimately, a fascist would win again. And it's the same thing as people talking about, like, who's going to win in 2028 or the midterms in 2026. And it's like, if we even have elections then, I ain't holding my breath, I'll tell you that much. But if we even do, the Democrats would have to actually win, which everyone seems like is guaranteed right now. But if you actually look at polling, Donald Trump is still very popular amongst Republicans. Not generally, okay? And he's losing quote-unquote independence, but every single person who voted for Donald Trump in 2024 will vote for him again in 2020. Do not fucking listen to them. They all say this every time he wins. Every single time they go, oh, no, we learned our lesson this time. He's actually radical and we don't. They all vote for him 100%. You go see these videos where they interview all these Trump supporters. And obviously one person is not necessarily representative of the entire, 70 million people that voted for him. But you'll see it repeating often and often where people are just like, yeah, no, I don't like every single thing that he's done. I voted for him because I didn't want war. I wanted the economy to get better. He's just done absolutely nothing. And then they'll go, do you regret? And they go, well, no, what am I going to do? Vote for a Democrat? No, never. So people are pointing out here, the Democrats don't actually want the policies most people want. Bernie was popular on both sides. Yeah, I agree. No, and I liked Bernie. I volunteered for the Bernie campaign. I liked Bernie a whole heck of a lot. Now, a lot of the sort of, the DNC is squashing Bernie stuff, a little overblown. That's not to say they didn't do things that I didn't like, But in 2016, they rallied behind Hillary Clinton. They pushed her forward. It obviously was a stupid idea. It was a stupid idea to do that, okay? It worked out. Bernie was born too early. It's not overblown. Okay, well, let me hear you out. Because, the point is, are they doing it now to Mom Donnie, is what you're saying? Or are they doing it now to someone else? Not to say, I didn't say it didn't exist. Let the record stand on that one. I didn't say there was not shit they did to undermine Bernie, because there obviously was. First off, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Hillary Clinton's goddamn campaign advisor, was appointed to be the head of the DNC, okay? That alone is disgusting, all right? There's the memos and the leaks, and, the Russian leaks that right now Tulsi Gabbard is lying about. She knows what she's talking about. She's lying and she knows she's lying. But she's saying that, that Obama knew that Russiagate was false. It was not false. It was completely true. Donald Trump himself, I don't know if the Epstein stuff will. Donald Trump himself, did he meet with Russia? Not that we know, but his campaign did. And the point is, the leaks, the WikiLeaks emails, were Russian, people would say disinformation of a type, They're true, though, is the important thing. They didn't leak. They clearly had one side they wanted to win, and they leaked these emails. That doesn't mean emails are false. And the emails, because, you know, the stupidest people in the world were like, oh, my God, they say cheese pizza a lot, so it means they want to fuck kids. No, they didn't. And let me tell you about this whole Epstein thing, by the way, while we're at it. I might not get to, I wanted to watch other videos and stuff like that. I might just talk for 2.5 hours straight. That would be amazing, and I might do that. But as I was saying, the whole Epstein thing, right? When they say they fucked kids, they were fucking like 16-year-olds, which you shouldn't do. It's not good to fuck a 16-year-old. Don't do that, okay? But at the same time, it's not the same as being a 3-year-old, okay? And I love you too, lamp boobs. I know you're to the left of me quite far. Most people online are. That's fine. And again, you get me on the day after I'm talking to a Republican, Marxist-Leninist Terminatorist is my position, talking to Republicans. I'll tell you that much. So, you know, but the point is, oh yeah, the Epstein thing. It's all flying around. So the thing here is that I think Jeffrey Epstein himself didn't matter. He wasn't part of anything. He wasn't a smart guy. He was a fall guy. Les Wexner saw him, got him. He was always a fall guy for the operation. He was just an idiot who was good at schmoozing people, okay? You actually read anything about Jeffrey Epstein, you're like, no way was he actually the brains of any operation, because he was not, all right? He was just the schmooze guy. And that's why Donald Trump made such good friends with him and wrote him the letter, which is, I don't know, the funniest letter of all time. Let me read it right now. By the way, I read this letter to my girlfriend and she said, wow, do you think they made up fucking kids to cover for the fact that they were fucking each other? Okay. They flaunt their crimes in the two-tier justice system. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct about that. And it's true. Oh no, but that's the thing. It absolutely sounds like Trump, because it is, in his heart, the thing about Donald Trump, in his heart, he is the gayest man who has ever lived. He is a very sensitive, very gay man. Oh my God, where is it? I need to find this letter. Oh, here it is. So it's written like a play. Because first off, Donald Trump, I'd imagine, much like Ben Shapiro, always wanted to be a screenwriter and just wasn't good enough to do it. Oh, here's the picture right here. Okay. No, shut up. I don't care. Oh, it's the funniest thing. So it's written like a script for a play. There is a non-zero chance that when he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, fucking children, he actually performed this play. Like, he was like, we have to do it. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald. Yes, there is. But I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. People don't appreciate how funny that is, how terribly written this is. This is awful writing. He already said, I won't tell you what it is, nor will I, since I also know what it is. Like, you just have to you use the same phrase twice in a row. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. And then for Jeffrey Epstein's voice, I'm going to do a very sensitive portrayal. Yes, we do, come to think of it. This is the line that I knew it was Trump. Oh my God. It is. This is gayer than gay pornography. I have seen video footage of two men having sex with each other. This is gayer than that. It is an imaginary conversation. Donald Trump literally they were such good friends. It's like being a 12-year-old girl and in your notebook, like writing like, here's what I'm going to talk to Bethany about tomorrow. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, this is the gayest line of all time. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Also, you know, Donald Trump wrote this down and he's like, ooh, no one's going to see through my cipher. What a tricky boy I am. I have tricked him. Jeffrey. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. And then you can see he erased in the side of his head, comma, when we were fucking children. But again, like 16-year-olds, okay? Everyone wants to go off on this like, oh, it was like blood sacrifices to Moloch bullshit. No, they just filmed creepy guys fucking 15-year-olds so that the CIA or the Mossad could be like, do whatever we tell. 14, and it's bad to fuck a 14-year-old. It'd be on the record. Don't do that. That's not a cool thing to do. But if you're going to look me in the eyes and be like, no, I don't at all see a difference between being 14 and being 6, you know, in terms of getting fucked. Okay. You're going to honestly tell me you don't see a difference? Both are bad. You shouldn't do any of them. What the one chick was lying? Lying about what? I don't know that part of the story. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me last time I saw you. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. And may every day be another wonderful secret. That's amazing. I saw a tweet that expressed my opinions where someone goes, listen, I can't support Donald Trump now that I know he's a gay pedophile. Disgusting. Ugh. That is true. If I need to talk about age of consent, the video needs to be called something like, bring back the gold standard. But then 3 minutes into it, I go, so I don't actually own any gold. But here's the deal. Rhode Island has something it's bringing to the table here. Okay. All right, I'm going to go pee. What do you say? I go pee. Then when I come back, we will watch some videos. I want to watch the Medhi Hasan Jubilee interview thing. Do we call it an interview when 20 different people just come up and go, hey, how's it going? Heil Hitler. So anyway, no one clipped that. I want to watch that. Maybe I want to watch the Hunter Biden video. If anyone else knows anything they want me to watch, sound off. Snopes.com, Trump, Epstein, Katie Johnson. Okay, everybody read that. I'm going to go pee. I'm not even going to switch to the holding screen just to see my background, my beautiful background. Be right back. Back. Hi, guys. Do I legit have a poo stain? My ass. How can I look at my own ass? No, that's a button. That's a button, asshole. How dare you make me think? Yeah, it's a button. I don't poo my pants, okay? I don't poop my pants. Do not put in the newspaper that I poop my pants. Do not put that in there. Who's Yossarian? I believe he, who is I, lives in all of you. Sometimes literally when I get that ass. I did actually literally at the beginning of this reveal my ethnicity. It is 100% cracker ass white boy. Usually there's a better show than just me right now. Yeah, well, you're not wrong. That's probably the least amount of your ass I've seen when you turn. Yeah, I normally. And the problem is that I'm very tall and I have a horrible body. So my ass crack on one side goes up higher. Yeah, on the back, the ass crack goes up higher than like the stomach goes. So like my stupid fat gut is lower than my ass crack. So I have to either show a little ass crack or like hike my stupid pants up like I'm freaking 65 years old waiting for a 5 p.m. dinner reservation at Bob Evans. Okay? Okay, Bob Evans, baby. All right, guys, let's go to YouTube. Let's watch videos. This is the whole reason I did this, okay? Thank you for stating facts, Lamp. I appreciate that. Your crack is too low? Oh, God, if only there was a way we could do a crack transplant. If we could trade assholes. If only science could get there. All right, guys. So, this is a YouTube channel that is mine. This is the reason I started this program. Instead of doing my previous program where I had to write bits and put up a green screen and care, it was like, what if instead I just stole content from other people? My dick is too high and too big. Oh, only science could figure that one out. All right. If that'd be interesting, actually. Because if you could do a dick transplant, would the big dick guys be willing to give it up? It was something I thought about recently when I saw one of those like Reddit, what if situation things. And someone was like, would you trade, 6 inches of your height so that you get $10 million or whatever it is? And part of me was like, no, I like being tall. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like 40. I'm old. I already got all the pussy I'm going to get out of it. At this point, be short. At this point, take the money and make it easier to sit on airplanes, And at a certain point, like, if you got a big ass dick and you're like 35, you're like, I've had it. I've had enough of it. Done with pussy at 40. Couldn't be me. I know, right? Some of us are built different. It's great, dude. Being done with pussy. I highly recommend it. I'm putting sunglasses back on. Because I'm cool. Because I'm cool. Yes, no, absolutely. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Okay, so let me search up the Medhi Hasan Jubilee interview. So if any of you guys aren't familiar with Medhi Hasan, he's based as hell. He was a journalist of some nature on, I think, was it MSNBC? Maybe it was TMZ. Maybe he'd see Lindsay Lohan at the airport and be like, Lindsay, first off, how do you feel about being a fire crotch? Second off, do we need to stop the Israel-Palestine war? Men stop being sexually active at the age where women become the most active. Well, me being sexually inactive is not a decision I made. I'll tell you that much. Best viewers on streamable.com remove the space. Okay, I'll get right on that. Enchanted Giblet, whatever the fuck your name is. Medhi Hasan is a base journalist, and I think he got fired for saying that Donald Trump was a poo-poo head. I'm not sure exactly. And now he's unfortunately been sent to kind of the podcast sphere, and he travels around, does all that stuff, and does debates. But he owns people because he is British and therefore mean. We've talked a lot about the British people. And, they've got tons of problems. Don't get me wrong. I love that their journalists are so mean to everyone all the time. In America, journalists are like, so do you think that maybe like this is the greatest thing you've ever done or like the second greatest thing you've ever done? Who are they talking to? A politician, a movie star? Doesn't matter. That's the question every time. In Britain, they're like, this is an interesting project, but how do you feel about the fact that you're a washed up old hag? They will say it to anybody except Jimmy Savile. They don't go after their own. But he agreed to do a Jubilee panel. Now, a Jubilee is a YouTube channel where they will bring one person in to, do a quote unquote debate versus 20 other people. And people like to argue and they go, okay, so is Jubilee right wing? Is Jubilee left wing? And I think Jubilee is ideologically very in favor of getting checks from YouTube. You're 100% correct. Medhi is the exact inverse of Piers Morgan. And sometimes he goes on Piers Morgan. And he's like, hi, I'm Medhi. And Piers Morgan goes, do you disavow Hamas? Here's why I fucking hate Piers Morgan so goddamn much. I'm going to talk about all these guys. This whole grift sphere thing. Piers Morgan, I hate more than like Matt Walsh. Or even like, let's say Nick Fuentes, something like that. Like the person that I hate more than any of these people is Lex Friedman. Okay? He's that boring Russian guy who's like, what if you had love? Then would you kiss Putin on the lips, Zelensky? I hate them so much. And I'll tell you why. Because, and this kind of goes back to almost the J.K. Rowling thing I was saying before, where I don't agree with her. I don't like her opinions. I wish she didn't have them. I respect someone who is willing to have horrible opinions and express them out loud and just be honest about them. I don't think J.K. Rowling is full of shit. She's wrong. But that's an important difference from being wrong and being full of shit. Okay? The whole thing is that people who are just honest with you. Matt Walsh, pretty honest, still full of shit on a lot of things, but he's about as honest as any of these guys are, where he's just like, my main thing is I want to have liquidation camps for those people I consider degenerate. That's my main thing. Lex Friedman's main thing is like, I would like to sit next to Elon Musk because I actually think he's cool. He actually doesn't even care about the money. He's like, he's the only one who saw Elon Musk's like memes and goes, he truly is hilarious. He's the funniest guy. I need to hang out with him. I need to hang out with Joe Rogan. They suck. And the same thing with Piers Morgan, where he's just full of shit. He just wants fucking content, okay? Disgusting. And Jubilee is sort of like that, where the whole thing about Jubilee is they bring in what they call like, right-wing conservatives. It's all just grifters. So Medhi Hasan did this, and we'll watch it and I'll show you it. But the thing you got to remember about all of these people, okay? They can say they're fascist. They can say whatever. The number one thing they believe in is there should be a camera recording them talking, which I also believe in. Maybe that's why I hate them the most. Okay, I got to turn this volume up. So my ass crack on one side. Oh, wait. Oh, I got my video is playing right here. On the back, the ass crack goes up higher than like. Oh, this is an audio Steveception. I hadn't turned the volume down. No, volume's down there. The volume on, volume's on here. Boom. I just need extra viewers, so I watch it myself. Anyway, as I was saying, this is Medhi Hasan in Jubilee. And all of these people he's talking to, they probably, it's wrong to say like they're actually, 100% not racist or something. They probably are vile human beings. Don't get me wrong. They're disgusting. But I think if it was like, hey, we'll keep a camera on you and you still get attention, but you have to say like, trans rights are human rights and everyone deserves health care. I think they do that too. Their number one goal is to be on television. Okay. But we got rid of like the Ginny Jones show and Jerry Springer and all this stuff. So all we have now is Jubilee. And at the same time, everyone's gone so far right that the best way to get attention is to just say you're a Nazi.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
Hell yeah. Whites are Native American. Again, you don't say that. The sound is weird. Are you getting a weird, is it like you can't hear it enough through them talking or me talking, or what's the deal?
What are you talking about? You're a little bit more than a far-right Republican. Hey, what can I say?
Oh my God, look at that guy's stupid face. I do remember Ricky Lake. Video quiet, sound is weird. For some reason, the video always is quieter like through the OBS than I can hear it. I'm going to crank the volume all the way up. Let's play a little bit and hear what you guys think.
You can say, I'm a fascist. Yeah, I am.
So this guy right here, with that face, dear God, video needs to come way up. Yeah. I've cranked it up. I got to figure out how to do this. I used to have the option on OBS where I would break everything into different channels so I could like have my voice and then the recording be on a separate channel, but I can figure that out again. Whatever, it's not important. What I was saying is look at this man's face. This still right here just needs to be shown every time anyone says white power. 50,000, you're right, because this guy goes on Medhi Hasan, goes on Jubilee with Medhi Hasan and says, yes, I am a fascist. And then afterwards, he claims he got fired. I don't know if this is true. I haven't looked into it. I would guess he wasn't employed. Or if he was, he like, had a part-time job at like Burger King or something. He's fucking stupid. He's a stupid person, okay? A stupid fucking hungry for money and hungry for attention person. He thinks he's like the superior white race or something like that. And again, first off, I'm probably whiter than him. You don't get a hell of a lot whiter than me, all right? I had motherfucking ancestors coming in on the Mayflower, all right? He lied. I believe he did. I haven't looked that up, but I bet he did. Did that come out? Is it proven that he lied about this? Because that was my immediate thought. Is like, yes, this guy is lying. Oh, he got fired back in January. I wonder why. Because what you discover, it's like, you read about that band Prussian Blue, who were like those two little kids who, would sing at like white nationalist rallies and stuff like that. They'll talk about their childhood growing up now because they've left the movement. And they'd be like, yeah, people just fucking molested us all the time. It was just constant. And you're like, yeah, Nazis are terrible in every way. It's not like someone's like, I think we need a white ethno state, but otherwise I'm chill. No, they're just awful fucking people. This guy is an awful, ugly, horrible human being. Because if he had anything to bring to the table, if he like was funny or like witty or clever or really anything, someone would have fucked him and he wouldn't have gotten into Nick Fuentes videos. If someone had just jacked him off once. So ultimately this is women's fault. If we can establish that, just kidding. But you see someone like this and you get it. He's just unexceptional in every single way. The only thing he has is he's willing to go on camera and call himself a fascist. And again, he probably believes it. I'm not saying these people, when I call them grifters, people get confused about that. Grifting does not necessarily mean that he doesn't believe what he's saying. He believes it in as much as he believes everything. He thinks everyone is beneath him. He's profoundly insecure because he knows that's not true. People can have different weird beliefs. And so he raised like $50,000 off of GoFundMe. And depending on where you live, you can go live in Nebraska on $50,000 for a whole year. Plenty of people live on far less than that all over the world, So it worked for him. This was a success for him.
Listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like...
No, this guy, see if we can see him again.
I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
Okay. This guy is a different brand. That guy we just saw was the kind of incel angry MAGA guy. This guy here is an influencer MAGA. He believes it the least, I think. That is totally a fucking Joker laugh. What is it that like Tucker Carlson has the same laugh? Honestly, a legal and well-regulated sex industry. Yeah, that's a good question. Because I don't know. Because I joke about him getting a blowjob once and then consequently he wouldn't have gotten into Nick Fuentes. But I don't know if that's true. It sort of becomes a potato kind of chicken and egg sort of situation where it's like, is this guy a miserable piece of shit because he can't fuck, or can he not fuck because he's a miserable piece of shit? And it's like, hey, they're both kind of an issue, Yeah, it's a crazy laugh. But this guy here, I think, in the pink, he is just an influencer mag. He just wants to be an influencer. He probably moved to LA, dropped out of college, maybe he was going to community college to get a degree in communications. He just drops out and he's like, well, I'm just going to go to LA and be an influencer. His dad buys him an RV. He drives out there with a woman, who was this close to being Gabby Petito. I'm just saying. All right. That Gabby Petito situation where one guy murders his influencer girlfriend. That is every influencer couple, like just one bad day. Okay. Actually have had opportunities with women. They just weren't on their terms or some they deemed good enough. That's true. A lot of the incels, like who's that guy? Was it Aaron Rodgers or who is the guy? Elliot Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the psycho anti-vax football player. Elliot Rodgers, who was like kind of a good looking guy and like had opportunities to fuck. But the problem is he did things like make videos where he goes, I'm actually the most profound gentleman. Whatever the hell he said. And so he decided to he could have fucked, but he's just such a miserable guy. So instead he went out and I think tried to kill some people. He tried to do like a mass shooting and only got like 3 people. Lame, bullshit. You do not go to Valhalla, Elliot Rodgers. It's me bombing Elliot Rodgers in hell. But so this guy just wanted to be an influencer. That's the vibe I get from him with his stupid little turn back hat thing. And so he was like, all right, I either do gay porn or I just pretend to be a fascist on Surrounded. And again, when I say he doesn't believe it, he doesn't believe or care about anything. It's not like he's against it. Like if the things he's arguing for here, which is pretty explicitly the genocide of brown people, if that came about, he wouldn't be like upset. He'd be fine as long as he gets attention. That's the thing he actually cares about.
I don't want you here.
I'm Medhi Hasan. I'm a journalist. I'm the editor of Zeteo. And today I'm surrounded by 20 far-right conservatives.
Fact checked by SAN, that says. I don't know what that is.
My first claim is Donald Trump is pro-crime and pro-criminal.
He also just has a great voice, Medhi Hasan. There are people you hear talk, and it's sort of the opposite end, and that this person was evil. Okay, keep your eye on YouTube. They might ding you for this. Well, if they do, then I don't know. I'll fucking storm the Capitol. JK. But anyway, as I was saying, you hear people talk sometimes, and Rush Limbaugh had this too. Glenn Beck has this, and they're terrible people. But you hear their voice and you're like, damn, there's a reason you got into radio, man. That is a smooth voice. I think they won't ding me as long as I stop it every couple seconds and do satire. So officially, all these people are gay. So someone has to enter the circle. So I've seen other people show clips from this before. So we'll just jump around. So the first... So, in at least one of these, and they've cut it out, someone's punched someone else to get to that table. All right? Because that, again, their number one position, more than anything else, is that they should have attention on them.
Nice to meet you. I'm Medhi.
I would just like...
I also like that these people say the most horrible things. And they're like, so I do feel like your entire ethnic group should be eradicated via camps, or, something like that. And then afterwards be like, great to meet you. Shake your hand. Like, don't fuck Jubilee. This is what pisses me off about Jubilee. When, I saw an interview with the founder of it, and he was like, maybe it was Young Turks or something, I forget. But he comes out and he's like, I just think it's important to have discourse. I just think it's important to, do. It's like, at least the guys who did bum fights were like, yeah, we're degrading human beings for entertainment. There's no value to any of this. Just own that.
To ask, what?
I mean, it's kind of ableist. What? I'm like, what did I say that was ableist? They answer probably 75 things by now. They do need to combine this format with Squid Games, 100%. Oh, it is that's actually a good point. Have ableist whoever can touch the desk first to do that. What they should, first off, I'm going to do a Jubilee surrounded where I'm surrounded by 20 people in wheelchairs and it's me just going, my first point, walking's cool as hell. You guys are missing out.
Make someone pro-crime versus, anti-crime.
Okay, this guy's definitely the influencer MAGA, but I also think he was a Christian teenager who accidentally busted in his pants while dancing with his girlfriend when they were 15. And he goes, we gotta get married now. Might as well follow my dream of dance. He's only not gay because he doesn't know what gay is. He can't be homophobic because no one's told him that's a possibility.
I think when you're soft on criminals, when you let criminals out of prison, when you pardon people who've assaulted police officers, you're pro-criminal. Donald Trump pardoned almost 1,600 people.
Jubilee, but everyone in the circle gets a gun.
I think 600 of them.
Oh my God. Okay. This guy is a full Nazi. Absolutely. He's also an influencer. Remember, all the Nazis are also influencers, and all the influencers are also Nazis. Okay? Same thing. But just one is kind of lean more to one side versus the other. And I think this guy, and the big difference is if someone sat down and goes, okay, so we're going to exterminate every brown person, and Jesus will personally come down from heaven and declare America to be a beautiful white ethno state. But you will be suspended from TikTok for 1 week. This guy would agree to that. The other guys would not. That's the fundamental difference.
Been charged with assaulting a police officer or obstructing a police officer. 170 had pled guilty to assaulting a police officer. 70 had pled guilty to assault with a dead.
Literal circle jerk. Yes, first off, that's me doing a Jubilee. I go in the middle and go, my first position, I don't have any cum on me. Yet.
Weapon. J.D. Vance said, we're not going to pardon the violent criminals from January 6th. Donald Trump pardoned all of them. Are you okay with that?
I would say January 6th is a very special case. I would say it's almost a climax point in history.
Also, these people have little tics they say a lot, which I don't, and I'm really good at talking. But this guy keeps saying, I would say. And then, of course, later, the big fat Nazi is like, quite frankly, I think the weaker. So if I was debating this people, I'd just go, no, you have too many verbal tics. You're a disgrace to the white race. Go away. Not getting into Valhalla.
I would just phrase the
quite
question
frankly,
this way.
I think that quite frankly,
right now in the LA protests, if they were to just for
this guy wants to be in, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's on the actual Nazi side. Something if he wants to be an influencer, he sucks at it. These people are bad at talking. They're so nervous is the issue. Because they get up here and it's like, here's my shot. Here's right. Maybe next week I can be on Louder with Crowder. Oh, these are the kind of people that legitimately still watch Steven Crowder on Rumble. Okay.
Example, they were to rush the capital of LA. I mean, they'd have to move over.
I don't think LA has a capital. It's a city. My first position, reverse cowgirl. I like that. My favorite sex position is reverse cowgirl. That's when we play the Sarah McLachlan song from Toy Story 2 backwards. Anyway, these people are so nervous and they desperately want to be famous. Also, as I was saying, LA doesn't have a capital. It's a city. It's not a country. So you're wrong about that. And I just, in fact, owned a fascist with facts and logic.
For all the homeless people living in tents on the steps of the Capitol. But if they were managed to get into the Capitol and they were just protesting, peacefully, let's say police officers were rushing them in. They were letting them
this
in
guy's boring and
saying,
sucks. Let's go to the next
The
person.
right-hand woman of Jeffrey Epstein, when she was on trial for child sex offending, which you and I are opposed to, Donald Trump stood up and said,
This is a wild thing to me. What I'm wondering, because we've all known Donald Trump was on the Epstein flight logs. We've known this the whole time. If you paid any attention to Epstein, you've known it, okay? It's obvious. If you've gone down this rabbit hole and had your mind melted back in 2019, okay, when my dear friend Jeffrey committed suicide, and we got to stop cyberbullying, guys. We got to stop it. It's such a problem. If you've been down this rabbit hole, of course Donald Trump was he was on the flights more than everyone. He loved Epstein. So all these conservatives who are now being like, wait, why won't Donald Trump release the file? Is it, it's a good point, Comrade Fuzz, you're not wrong. Oh my God, is Donald Trump actually a file? I'm like, did you guys not know? And I think it was like, remember that show Westworld where they had programmed androids to be able to see something and then just their brain would go, looks like nothing to me, and then move on? And it makes you, like, debating conservatives, talking to them, which I don't recommend. Doing it, they're so stupid, it will make you recontextualize the existence of human consciousness. You will just literally be like, how do people conceive of things in the world? Because most humans will see an item and believe the item is there and it exists. Okay? Like, conservatives are so stupid, they almost don't have object permanence. It'll just be like, well, I mean, you didn't know Donald Trump was in the Epstein files? I had seen a piece of paper that told me that Donald Trump kids, but I did not believe that I saw it. What are you even talking about? The last kid probably is female to male, you're right. All right, so this guy, they're talking about Epstein. They don't like Epstein. This guy's pretending he didn't know Trump was on the Epstein files.
Good luck to her. I wish her well. So yeah, that makes him pro-crime and pro-criminal if he's being soft on child sex traffickers,
Well, you just said they
like
were his
Epstein.
friends. He's
No, I'm
clearly
saying he was
something.
friends. He was friends with Epstein. You haven't seen the videos? They danced together, partied together.
It's
Epstein said I was
it's
his
a guy he
closest
knows.
friend.
He's not supported the pedophilia part. The only people
Actually,
supporting
that's
pedophilia
not
are the
true.
left.
Trump gave a speech about 20 years ago where he said Epstein's a great guy. He loves young women. A lot of them are very young.
So it wasn't a speech. It was an interview with Vanity Fair, I think it was, where someone was doing a story on Epstein. This was like 2015 or 20, maybe even earlier than that. But it was like a while before Trump was president. And so this interview was calling up all these people associated with Epstein. And, Bill Clinton was like, no, I'm not going to do an interview about the guy I fucked kids with. Dear God, no. But Donald Trump is like, I love to talk. Donald Trump is the ultimate example of the influencer version of this, where his only actual position is that he should get a lot of attention because he's a great big boy who's lovey. And so he just said, what's the full quote? They say Jeffrey likes women, some of them even on the younger side. Oh, he does love his social life. What if the original quote, he goes, I was saying to Jeffrey the other day, enigmas never age. You notice that? And he said, yes, I also noticed that. Big moment. So yeah, Donald Trump did say in an interview very clearly that he fucks children with Jeffrey Epstein.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, laugh, laugh. So yeah, I think he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
So you think
and I
he's
think he's
pro-crime
soft
for
on
having a
sex
friend who's
offenders.
do you have any friends who are criminals?
Not that I know of. Certainly not child sex offenders. No, do you?
If it came, no, of course not. And
Okay,
if it
so
came-
we're both in agreement.
First off, he has a lot of friends that 100% that guy has friends that are child sex criminals. I believe that 100%. The best was Prince Andrew, who gave an interview and they were like, why did you still hang out with Jeffrey Epstein even after he was a convicted sex offender? And Prince Andrew goes, nope, I cut ties immediately. I would not speak to him after that. And they go, actually, we see here that when you were in New York, you stayed with him again afterwards. And Prince Andrew goes, it was a convenient place to stay. It was convenient. Yeah, no shit. The best version of these people just want to fuck kids. The best version of a conservative is one who's like, is the libertarian, and no one's actually a libertarian. The closest thing to a libertarian, the people who are like, well, I think we should regulate everything except weed and the age of consent and guns. Okay? That person is obviously not a libertarian. They're disgusting. But they are better than the people that are like, we need to ethnically purge the country. Okay? I'm willing to say it. It's bad to be a pedophile. Don't be a pedophile. That's a bad thing to be. It is better to be that than to be a Nazi. Okay? And, really, it's very rare those don't come in a package.
Again,
If
so
it
why are you
came out
defending
tomorrow
Donald Trump?
if it came out tomorrow that one of your friends was a child sex
You know
trafficker,
what I'd do?
you'd stop being friends with them.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I
but-
wouldn't say...
And then I'd go on TV and I would say, oh, look, Mr. Hasan was friends with this guy 10 years ago. Therefore, he's
What if-
pro-
No, yeah, this guy's definitely a gay theater kid who wants to be an influencer. So you can tell this is an insane position. Like, he doesn't believe this. No one would actually believe this.
child
Mr.
sex
Hassan
trafficking.
said, I wish them well when they're on trial. Wouldn't you ever go at me for
You
that?
wish your
Wouldn't
friend
you
well
ma-
on trial?
Yeah, child sex trafficker. Would you be mad?
I wouldn't wish someone well, but that's
But
that's
Donald
your
Trump
gotcha.
did.
Yeah, I'm very clearly gay. Yes, no, this person is 100% in the thing. But also, he came out to LA and he finally came out for the first time in his life to be like, I'm gay and I'm living my dream. And all I want is to someday be on Vanderpump Rules. And it just didn't quite work out. And he goes, yeah, I'll say we should kill them all. Sure. Give me to do that.
That's your gotcha?
It's a pretty big
He said
gotcha.
He wished
Yeah,
a friend
pretty
well.
big gotcha.
Okay,
He
but
praised
see,
the- he
what you're
praised the
really
woman
trying
for
to do
child
right
sex.
now is
You're
you're
right.
bringing it back to
that he's-
Donald Trump on a personal level.
Elon
Let's
Musk
talk
says his
politics.
name-
The thing is, libertarians are the anarchists of the right wing. Actual libertarians, I don't agree with actual libertarians. Okay? I don't agree with hardcore libertarians just because I think that it's unrealistic. Same way I don't agree with anarchists. In a way, actual anarchists and actual libertarians, I can respect because I think there can be a coherent ideologically and morally position within that. If someone says like, I want less regulation from the government, I want the government to control less aspects of my life, I would agree with that 100%. The problem is that nobody's actually a libertarian. People are too scared and angry. They all at some point will go, no, I would like the state to kill people who make me uncomfortable. Can we do that? Can we murder everyone who makes me uncomfortable? That's the position all libertarians eventually arrive at, okay? But actual principled libertarians, they're crazy and they're stupid, but I have some respect for them, okay? Now, but the same thing but anarchists, if you're an actual anarchist, again, the notion of like, I would like, I don't like the state foundationally, it's too powerful. I agree. I get that 100%. I think it's unrealistically to think that we can live without a state. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the future will disagree with me. I have no fucking idea. Maybe I'm wrong about all of that. But again, if someone is an actual libertarian and their actual position is, I would like less power to be in the hands of the state, I agree with that. Those people don't exist. Every single one of them are like, I want to use the power of the state to purge the degenerates. And that I disagree with. Except, of course, for all of these people. We don't need to purge them. We need to put them in re-education camps.
What's his policy?
Oh, you want to talk policies?
Yes.
So when he left office in 2020, he left behind the highest murder rate for over 100 years.
According to the Brookings Institute, the murder rate increased 30% across U.S. cities in 2020. Their analysts found the spike was connected to local unemployment and school closures in low-income areas during COVID. I would agree. As I understand it, crime has generally speaking been declining since like the 70s, 80s. It spiked a little bit during COVID, but for the most part, people just aren't as violent anymore. And some people think it's literally because the boomers had like lead in the gasoline at all times. But I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it's because we don't spend as much time around each other. Maybe it's because we argue on the internet more instead of just whatever. But like in the 70s, it was not terribly uncommon to just shoot someone in the head. Just have a fight at a bar and go, nah, Steve Austin doesn't star in the $6 Million Man. We don't have phones to check it. Fuck you. Boom. That just happened back in the day.
He left
Between
behind
20
the highest murder.
yes.
That is the most bad faith claim you
No,
could
no,
possibly make.
it's a fact from the CDC
and you know
data.
what? Here's why it's bad faith.
Can I finish a sentence and then you can come back in?
You're just lying to people. Donald
I'm
Trump.
lying? Can I finish the sentence?
Donald Trump does not cause the
Can
murder
I-
rates.
can I-
Murder is a state level.
No, that's nonsense. Because this guy was most so-called anarchists just yap on Discord. That's the same thing. Same thing as the libertarians and all that stuff. So this guy, that's the most bad faith. He's all of a sudden now going like, oh, well, Donald Trump doesn't control the crime rate. You know, for a fact, when Joe Biden was in office, if it was reversed, he would say, blame it all on Joe Biden. And he would blame all the economy on Joe Biden, even though neither of those options are like a thing that he turns, a little dial. Okay. This is why Republicans are so good at politics, because every single day with the economy, their Fox News people are on TV, all their Tim Pools, their Steven Crowders, their all these Russian freaks would come out and just word for word say the exact same thing and just hammer a point home, okay? Bidenomics, Biden economy, let's go Brandon, hammer, 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 hammer. And with the goddamn so-called left in this country, Okay. Half of them are arguing with each other all the time because they're too woke. You can't even do a live stream anymore because it's too woke. I'm going to do like 15, 20 more minutes, then get out of here.
That's hilarious.
Gavin Newsom is more responsible for the murder rate than Donald Trump is.
That's hilarious. So Donald Trump's not responsible for murder rate, but other politicians who are Democrats
Yes,
are.
because it's
Everyone
a state
can see
level
your
law.
partisan
That's
shit.
like saying I'll say Republicans are too. State governors who are soft on crime are the ones that
You're
are
absolutely
responsible
correct.
for
No, conservatives are truly the biggest goddamn snowflakes of all time. Where conservatives will legitimately like be mad that someone made fun of Donald Trump. They'll be mad about that. Can you even imagine? That's the reason why we're so fucking good at politics. Because if someone on the right attacks Donald Trump, they immediately fucking devour them. If someone on the left attacks Kamala Harris, everyone goes, great work, great fucking work. And listen, to be fair, Kamala Harris sucks in a lot of ways, all right? It was underrated in some other ways. It was more progressive than people gave her credit for. But ultimately was not, the solution to the problem. Certainly, she didn't get elected, so who gives a shit?
When Donald Trump left office in 2020, between 2019 and 2020, according to data from the CDC, from the FBI, from Pew Research.
Also, when they were, this guy just loves waving a flag. He's a big fan of it for whatever reason. So if enough people raise up the flags to be a red flag, that person gets kicked out. So that's kind of fun. You're getting ostracized by your own group. Now, yes, but a year ago, if you said anything against Harris, you got lit on fire. I mean, I'm sure some people did, but like we had, Hassan Piker is probably the biggest voice in actual left media. And I'm not, again, he can say whatever he wants. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done this necessarily. I disagree with him on it, and I would not have done it if I were him, but that's his right to do so. He definitely talks shit about Kamala Harris all the time, and Genocide Joe. And again, the whole point of all this stuff, if someone, this is a big thing to me, okay? A lot of these protests seem to have died down after Donald Trump won the presidency again, okay? If you want to protest the Democratic Party for sending money to Israel, I agree with you. I don't think that's wrong, okay? Both parties will make the real left out to be the real enemy of America, and it's still not true, but it's ingrained. You're absolutely correct. But again, if you look at the actual data, so-called leftists, as much as you want to define that term, people who, let's say, supported Bernie Sanders in a primary or whatever, like more Bernie Sanders voters in primaries voted for Hillary Clinton than Hillary Clinton voters in the primary voted for Barack Obama, is a statistic I've heard and have not verified. So it might be true, it might not be. You can probably Google it. I don't care. I'm not going to. But consequently, the notion of like the left is destroying it. The left, some of them don't vote. Some of the loudest voices tell people don't vote. For the most part, they show up and vote for the Democrat. That tends to happen. The problem we have in electoral politics in America is not the quote unquote online left or whatever it is. They're a small group. A lot of them will show up and vote. Some of them don't, but they wouldn't have voted anyway. Like it is what it is. Okay. And people in America do attack the quote unquote real left. And I think that certainly there's criticisms to be made of extremely far left people, but ultimately the basics of the policies, which are not radical at all, the notion of, let's say, maybe we give people expanded health care. Maybe we have, again, just a more robust social safety net. Maybe we have all this gun violence. I'm not saying we take away people's guns because no one wants that anyway. I honestly think that if we had more money put into mental health care in this country, not only would we have less mass shootings, we'd have less Republicans. The Republican Party would never win again if we actually had a functional mental health care system in this stupid country.
The 30% increase in the murder rate between 2019 and 2020, it was the single biggest jump in the murder rate since 1905. So he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
Who's doing the murdering?
The murderers.
So I think now he's probably going to try to claim that the murderers are Democrats or something. Because, I mean, these people don't have shame and don't believe anything. So if he was forced to and really pushed it on down, I think he would eventually get to just going like, well, they're probably Democrats because they're black. Black people do the murdering, and so they're probably Democrats. The NRA just wrote 5 articles about you. You're goddamn right. Write more, NRA. I mean, I've shot a gun. I'm not like a gun guy. I just don't care that much, Because especially whenever people are freaking out about mass shootings, like mass shootings are bad. They shouldn't happen. I don't like them. But overall, violent crime is going down. Overall, murder is going down. It's the big issue that we have in this country is true crime reporting. If it was up to me, I wouldn't ban guns. I would ban the My Favorite Murder podcast. Okay, it puts everyone on a goddamn bad vibe.
Aren't they responsible?
But why
for the
did it go
rate?
up on his watch?
What?
Why did it go up on his watch?
Gee, that's
very
real
bad.
hard. That's
He's
a real
very
hard
bad at fighting crime.
That's a real hard one to figure out, right? We shut down the whole economy during COVID. We told everyone they couldn't go out unless it was to violently protest.
So you should be allowed to gay bash this person. just for how irritating they are. You should be allowed to say slurs if someone's a Republican.
We told people that if a cop tries to arrest you, that cop's probably going to get charged with murder.
No, I think the pandemic.
No, who's the we on this one? People will say, like, we told you that if a cop tries to arrest you, it's probably they're going to murder you. Yeah, who did shut down the economy? It's a very, very good point. We have this notion about the cops are probably going to murder you, and it's just way more complicated than that. People want to say, like, defund the police or whatever it is. I'm not opposed to that. Certainly I would be down. I think the police, especially in large major cities, have fucking military budgets that they don't need. And a lot of that money could go to social safety nets and stuff like that. But the problem with policing is not any individual one interaction with a police officer. Now, granted, the odds of that being bad are very different based on your skin color and based on your economic status as well. It's not entirely a skin color thing, okay? All the white nationalists happy for the cops fucking cracking black skulls. You're a poor white person. They ain't going to be too nice to you either, buddy. But the issue is less an individual case-by-case thing and more a systemic thing of policing. When you have that much money and a military budget, people are going to become militarized. It's what happens. You also deal with the fact that I don't think all cops are bad, but I would say are like bad people individually, morally. But I would guess that a significantly higher percentage of police officers are horrible morally than the average population, because it's got to be a job where, like, you make okay money, better than people think, and like the pensions are great and the union will protect you. But obviously, if your main goal is making money, you're not going to go be a police officer. You go be a fucking stockbroker or something. If you want to be a police officer, your main thing is probably best case scenario, desire to hold power over other people. Worst case scenario, and this is true a lot, you just want to fucking crack black and brown skulls. A lot of police officers just 100% fully, that's what they make. Look at that. A cop in LA made like $600,000 because of unlimited overtime. That's crazy. But like, even if you're a cop, in like, not even like, an LA cop with overtime, just a regular ass cop in whatever, Dayton, Ohio or some shit, you're still making like probably six figures after a couple years. You're making okay money, entirely socialized money, by the way. I never really like the argument when people are like, my tax dollars are going to XYZ, because I just don't like when people want to associate themselves with their money. And so it's like, if my tax dollars are going somewhere, I approve of it. But it's like, you got a problem with fucking tax dollars. Like, I have a bigger problem with tax dollars going from money to Israel and money to the fucking cops, and often sending cops to Israel. Isn't that a literal thing they did with NYPD officers? They sent them to Israel to be like, listen, guys, we're doing a pretty good job oppressing a minority population here, but I'm sending you to the fantasy camp of oppressing a minority population.
It got a lot to do with it. But the pandemic didn't finish in 2020.
What?
The pandemic didn't finish in 2020.
You asked why the murder rate went up.
And yet, if we're going to play the what about game, you guys blame Joe
Biden
Biden for crime for years.
But Joe Biden actively induces policies that are...
Exactly. So he'll just flip it immediately. Donald Trump didn't do it. Gavin Newsom did. Joe Biden did it in enacting policies. Which policies? Name a policy. None of these people could name a single fucking policy. They might have a name that they've memorized in case they were ever pressed at one of these goddamn jubilees, but they couldn't actually explain what a policy is.
Pro-crime. I'm asking
you. So does Donald Trump. Okay.
Name the policy that's pro-crime.
Right now.
Please. I've asked you for like 10 minutes.
I'll name one right now. No, you haven't actually. You talked about California legislatures. He pardoned violent criminals who then went on to commit.
D bad, are good. That is literally their only position, And again, it goes down to the voting thing, because I do want to some degree shame people on the quote unquote online left who couldn't vote for Kamala Harris, which is different than if someone says Kamala Harris was incredibly bad and here's valid criticisms of her. 100%, dude. 100%. The, Biden administration's fealty to Israel that she was unable to speak out against being very chief amongst them. I get that. I get it. But if you don't think she was a better option, but also it's like, she's elected and then 4 years we get someone else and they destroy it. I don't know. I mean, maybe the accelerationists are right. I don't know. I don't like accelerationism because I'm not sure we're accelerating to a place that's necessarily any better than where we're at right now. That seems to be the path we're on. I don't care for it, but buckle up. I'm trying to make the best of it, I guess.
Other crimes. You don't think releasing violent crimes into the community?
A one-time thing. What's his policy he has pushed? Name a law he has signed.
A pardon is a one-time thing. A policy is not one-time thing.
That's like Jimmy Carter pardoned the draft.
You guys may want to dodge.
The Jimmy Carter thing is complete whataboutism, just out of nowhere. I think the option at the moment that seems like it's accelerationist is actually the least so. So you're saying that the Republican option is actually less accelerationist than the Democrat option? Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that ultimately, the thing to me is that I think liberalism is unrealistic. I kind of want to be a liberal Democrat. That would be my position, as close to it as anything else, where I'm like, I believe in personal freedom and letting people figure things out. But I think the reason that's unrealistic is fascists will always take advantage of it. It's a thing that repeats throughout history. Okay. No, they're rejecting both parties and pushing for either a serious swerve or the Democrats are completely breaking off. I mean, good luck. If someone can do that, I fully support that, but I mean, maybe that's a project that works in 20 years, I mean, there's obviously two very, very different things. A serious swerve of the Democrats are completely breaking off of the Democratic Party. If you can do a serious swerve of the Democrats, I think that's great. I mean, the Republicans were able to do it. I don't know how serious of a swerve it was, but the Tea Party definitely got in and completely reformed the movement, There's a lot of similarities, a lot more than people in the party will note, but at least the aesthetics and sort of the messaging of the Republican Party is very different than it was, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But I think it's harder for Democrats because Democrats aren't stupid, generally speaking. They're not. People on the online left would say they are, but just look at it. They tend to be educated people. And then people will be like, oh, being educated doesn't make you smart. Yeah, being uneducated makes you fucking stupid, though. Okay? I'm willing to say it. I don't give a shit. I'm on my classist, ableist arc. I don't give a fuck. Okay? So consequently, they're not as stupid, and so they're less likely to fall for like populist brain rot bullshit. Now, if the Democrat fractured a portion of the right would come along, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Okay? When I say Republicans are stupid, and they are, I'm not saying that like they're worse people because of it. They're worse people because they're hateful, not because they're stupid. You can be stupid and not hateful. There are plenty of stupid Democrats. By and large, they are smarter than the Republicans, but there are plenty of stupid ones. It's possible to be stupid and still just whatever, But you're right. The education thing was a long-term thing. And so you get people that are just uneducated, have no media literacy, and just have fascist propaganda just pumped into their fucking head 24 hours a day. And then COVID happens, and then you force all those people onto their phones all day long, just constantly looking at the fascist propaganda. They weren't ready for it. Their brains couldn't handle it. Okay? They got fried. There are people who, if you explain to them clearly and simply how mistaken they've been about the nature of their own disenfranchisement, it's something they only need to hear once. Are there? I don't know. People will say all this thing where it's like, they're temporarily embarrassed proletariat and something. Maybe there are people like that. And God knows if there are people out there trying to talk, trying to spread actual economic awareness amongst the lower class. God bless you, man. I don't blame you for giving it a shot. But it seems like at this point, they're not listening to logic. They're just voting for hate. I don't know, man. I don't know. If someone wants to try to turn, and there's obviously a history of Midwestern socialism and sort of, left-wing politics that are, amongst class lines as opposed to sort of racial divides. But I just don't know how successful someone's going to be breaking through the propaganda, the brainwashing, and the terrible fear of black and brown people. Like, I think that's something innate within people. People will say like, oh, babies aren't born racist. And like, not literally babies born racist, but I think a fear of the other is a thing that human beings have. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying racism is good. In fact, I'm willing to say racism is bad. All right. Thank you. Thank you. The word hero gets thrown around a lot, but I'm willing to say racism is very bad. People shouldn't be racist, but I think there is a natural aspect to it, a fear of the other. And sort of the racism and the homophobia, queer phobia broadly, are connected in a variety of ways. But I think that they're a fear of, it's almost like a fear of the other and a fear of the self, And I think the queer phobia bothers people because it makes them think things they don't want to think and see. And I think that's a whole goddamn thing. And then the racism is just a fear of the other, it's an innate thing in people. So if you were to explain to them, you're destroying yourself along economic lines, first off, you have to be pretty smart. I'm not that smart. I'm pretty stupid, but to like actually understand the economy. I wouldn't claim I really understand it. It's much easier to blame a political party, blame whatever it is. So I don't know. They think it's icky and gross. That's really what it all comes down to. And this is, listen, I'm willing to say that I'm going to tell you guys this story because it's true. And this is where I'm going to lose all my left. Everyone's going to be like, oh God, he was a lib the whole time. I was, what can I say? I made calls for the Kamala Harris campaign. I literally volunteered for the campaign through Progressive Victory, and I knocked on doors, and I made phone calls. And I was making a phone call to this guy. I did, right? The best phone call I made, I had a couple ones. Numerous people told me I was a communist and hung up on me. One person, here's the call and I go, hey, I'm calling from the Kamala Harris campaign. And the guy goes, yeah, I'll vote for her if she comes over and sucks my dick. And I said, yeah, we could probably arrange that. Let us know. And then he was mad because he was like, damn it, I didn't trigger this lib. And then he goes, fuck you, tranny. Hangs up on me. What that was all about. But there was one guy who I had a long conversation with. I kept talking to him. And this is, again, why I get down to this. No one's a libertarian thing. No one's actually a libertarian. Because his whole thing, he was like, listen, I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump's whole thing. I really don't support him. I really don't support him. And then he was like, I don't know if I can vote for Kamala Harris, man. Why? Just because of trans people. She wants trans, girls. She wants trans women. I don't know exactly the term he used. Probably something horribly offensive. But he's like, he wants trans people in women's sports, which is like not something Kamala Harris ever talked about. Okay. I helped the campaign till like February or March and I couldn't continue. Well, help the campaign of Joe Biden. That would have been at that point. I came in a bit later when it was Kamala. But the point is, Kamala Harris didn't talk about trans women in sports. She didn't care. Well, like one time she answered some question where someone was like, do you think for immigrants we should provide gender affirming care? And she said yes. And you know what? Yes. If we're imprisoning people, we should maybe take care of their health care. What's their health care? It's none of your fucking business, okay? None of your goddamn business at all. Calm down. Who gives a shit? So terrible. But, what was I saying? Yeah, so the thing is, that wasn't a position she held. She didn't mention trans people at all. She was terrified of offending the right, or the Democratic Party seemed to have a legitimate belief that they could get right-wingers to vote for her. It was stupid. It was a terrible strategy and didn't work, but they seem to truly believe that. But that was this guy's position. And then he was like, and I was like, okay, so let's say she doesn't support that. She doesn't support it being in sports, which again is not like, again, I'm kind of a lib. I think it's probably unfair to have trans women play in sports with other women. That being said, I don't want the federal government to tell any sport league what they should or shouldn't do. Okay. If an individual sporting league wants to have trans women play, that's their business. Let them play. All right. Especially at like the pre-college level. Even pre-high school, like who gives a shit? All right. At the high school level, you could have some argument about like, oh, they're going to lose scholarships or whatever it is. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I leave that to the individual institutions. I don't think the federal government should come in and tell them what to do. That doesn't help. But even leaving that aside and saying that she didn't do that, this guy was like, no, because they're going to trans the kids. It all eventually came to trans people for him. What I tried to tell him, because again, I wanted to reach out. This guy claimed that he was a libertarian. And I said, okay, well, here's the thing, right? The world is scary. I get it. I'm an older guy too. There are things I see that are happening in the world that I don't claim to understand. I don't know. But your job is not to know. All right? Your job is to answer me this one question. Why do you or the government or religious institutions or anyone know better how to handle your child's health care than you, the doctors, and the child? Why do you feel you have a better position? Don't you think people should be allowed to treat their children as they think is best? And he just said, no, we got to stop transing the kids. No one has any actual ideology. There are just things that make them uncomfortable, things that don't. And that's really it. All right, guys, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I've been streaming for not that long, 2 hours, 15 minutes, roughly. Did we have fun today, guys? Did we enjoy ourselves? All right. We had a lot of people drop out when I was talking about trans people. That didn't help too much. Not popular. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go see the Fantastic Four movie. Hope it's good. It might be. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll be dog poopy. Talk about it next time. We didn't watch that Hunter Biden video. We didn't watch that much of Medhi Hasan either because I just have too many damn opinions. God, I love talking to people. Man. Anyway, I'm going to did you see Superman? I did see Superman and a little movie corner. Guess what, guys? It's time.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Delicious things to eat. The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy, the chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Superman was pretty good. I like Superman a lot. If you like comic books, I saw someone say that it was great to have a comic book movie, not a superhero movie, and I kind of agree. Superman was fun. A little overstuffed. I think they threw a little too much in there. They could have pared it down. It's an interesting creative choice to have the film start in media res, just launch you right into it. It's a little disorienting as you kind of get your handle around the movie, but I thought it was a lot of fun and I would recommend it. I saw Eddington last week, which I thought was, I liked Eddington a lot, but it's long. It's super self-indulgent. Some people will accuse it of being centrist because they're stupid and they need very specific political stuff spelled out for them. It's a piece of art. And, you know, like a lot of pieces of art, it's rough around the edges and super self-indulgent, but really worth a watch. It's interesting. The beginning of the movie, a little just date comes up and it goes May 2020. And I'm like, that was a vibe. May 2020 was a vibe. I'll tell you that much. All right, guys, we had fun today. I should do another one of these soon. I should do multiple ones of these. These are much easier to do because previous live streams I had to like write stuff and prepare stuff. I could just start talking. As you guys have noticed, I just won't ever shut up. It'll never happen. All right. I could do it every day. We'll see how that all works out. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Maybe.